Day month, we usually associate it with the food of aval. And for me, when I think of aval, I immediately think of the Sudhamacharithram because Krishna's favorite food was aval. The Sudhamacharithram is a very touching story, and it is also a very inspiring story, and I'm going to share it with all of you today. Sudhama was a poor Brahmin, but he went out under the guidance of Guru Sandipani with his friend Krishna. Krishna and Sudhama became the best of friends. They always walked together, talked together, and they both studied under the guidance of Guru Sandipani. Even though that Sudhama was a poor Brahmin, and Krishna had a little bit higher class than him, that never came in between their friendship. They didn't care how wealthy the other was, they only cared that they were friends. As they reached their age, they departed ways, as Guru Sandipani said that it was time for them to leave because they had learned all their lessons. Sudhama married a nice Brahmin girl named Kalyani. And Kalyani was a very patient and very kind woman. When she was working in the kitchen, randomly at times, Sudhama would be like, Kalyani, come here, I have to tell you something. And Kalyani would be like, what is it you have to tell me? And he'll say, you know my good friend Krishna? I studied with him at Guru Sandipani. You know him? Do you remember him? And she'll be like, yes, I remember him. And 5 minutes later, he'll be like, Kalyani, come here, I have to tell you something again. And she's like, what does he have to tell me? And then he'll say, you know my good friend Krishna? Yeah, he was my best friend when I was young. And he would do this every 5-10 minutes, but Kalyani would never get impatient with him. That's how much a kind person she was. And then one day, Kalyani said, well, my dear husband, you always talk about your good friend Krishna. You always tell me about stories. You always tell me how much of a great person he is, yet you never once went and visited him. Why don't you visit him? Why don't you visit him at his palace and come back? And Sudhama said, my, I've never thought of that. And then he was thinking, and he said, but why do you tell me this now? Why didn't you tell me this any other day I had talked to you about him? And Kalyani said, I don't know, that's what I'm thinking. Why did I tell you? Maybe Krishna wanted to see you. Maybe that's why he made me think that you wanted to see him. And Sudhama said, my Krishna? My good friend Krishna wants to see me? Then definitely I'll go and see him. And as he was about to leave, Kalyani said, but wait, you can't go empty-handed to your friend's house. You have to take something with you. And Sudhama said, yes, you are right, but what should I take with me? We don't have that much in our house right now. And Kalyani said, oh, but you used to tell me that Krishna's favorite food was aval, right? How about I go to the neighbor's house and get some aval for you? And you can give that to Krishna. I'm sure Krishna will enjoy it. And Sudhama thought, yes, that is the most precise gift that I can give him. You are correct. And after Kalyani came and got the aval, she tied it with a garment. She didn't have anything to put it in, but she knew that Krishna was Sudhama's best friend, so she tore off a piece of her own garment, put the aval in there, and gave it to him. Sudhama took the bundle and happily left for Vrindavan, where Krishna was staying. Mathura. As he arrived there, the palace was so big, so luxurious, it was so colorful that it almost blinded Sudhama. He had never seen so much rich color, so many riches in his life. And there were so many guards, there was fanfare, there was people playing instruments, there were big, rich-looking people sitting and waiting to see Krishna. Sudhama almost felt out of place there in his normal Brahmin clothes. When the guards saw him, they said, come, Krishna would like to see you come, we've been waiting for you. And Sudhama still kind of felt nervous and said, oh, would you please go and tell Krishna that his good friend Sudhama has come here to see him? And they said, of course, we'll let him know. And they rushed inside to tell him. Krishna was actually sitting on a swing with Rukmini swinging. But as soon as he heard the news, he jumped from his swing and said, Sudhama? My dear friend Sudhama has come to see me? Where is he? Show him to me. Where is he? And he ran outside the palace, and as soon as he saw him, tears started rolling from Krishna's eyes. And he embraced him with all his heart, and he was so happy to see Sudhama. Sudhama was speechless. he was also happy himself. He didn't know Krishna would be so happy to see him, but he was, and they were both very happy to see each other. When Sudama went inside, Krishna did Pada Puja to his feet, and after he did the Pada Puja, he sprinkled the water on his own head, because Krishna is he's a bhakta of his bhaktas, meaning he worships the bhaktas who worship him. After that, he was talking to Sudama about his younger days, and then they ate dinner. They ate a very lavish dinner, and Sudama couldn't believe his eyes about how nicely Krishna was treating him. And Rukmini was also there asking Krishna, "Oh, this is Sudama. This is the friend you always talk to you about." And Sudama felt so happy, so elated in his palace. After eating the dinner, Krishna took Sudama to his own bedroom and said, "This is where you're going to sleep. How about you sleep here for today, then you can leave tomorrow morning." Sudama never seen a bed this great in his life. When he saw the bed, he was thinking, "Oh my goodness, I can never sleep in this bed." And Sudama said, you want me to sleep here?" And Krishna said, "Yes." And he pushed him on the bed. He said, "Lay down right now." And Sudama laid down. He pressed his feet. Krishna was pressing his feet while Rukmini was fanning his whole body. As Krishna was pressing his feet, he said, "Hey Sudama, do you remember that time when we were at Guru Sandipani's place and we were gathering wood, but then a huge storm broke out, it was raining, but then we put the wood and we protected it under a tree and we got wet ourselves because we knew that Guru Sandipani needed the wood dry. And after the storm ended, Guru Sandipani found us and said, 'Oh, my poor children, you got wet yourselves in wanting to protect my wood.' Then he took his towel and he wiped our faces and our heads with it. Do you remember that?" And Sudama said, yes, I remember that." And then Krishna said, my, all this talking. Huh? Oh. Well, that incident also reminds us all about how we went to India I at least went to India over the summer, and I met Shri Guruji, and that also reminded me of the sudhamacharithram because Krishna was remembering his own guru, and this made me remember my guru as well. After that, after Krishna said all these childhood stories, he said, my, I'm getting so hungry. All this talking has made me hungry. Sudama, do you have anything? Did you bring anything to eat, or do you have anything? And Sudama said, no. But before he could answer, Krishna saw the bundle tied next to Sudama's wing. He said, "You brought me a present? How come you didn't tell me?" And he grabbed the bundle before Sudama could say a word, and he hurriedly opened it, and he said, "Ava, you remember my favorite food when I was a child? I can't believe you still remember my favorite food." And he took a bite, he took a handful, and he put it in his mouth. And he said, "Yummy, this is the best apple I've ever tasted." And he was going to take another handful when Rukmini said, "My dear Lord, you know that this one bite is enough to fulfill this man's wishes and desires for this entire life." And Krishna said, "Rukmini, you're right." And he put it back. And Sudama was very confused. He had no idea what Rukmini meant. As he pondered this, he fell asleep. After the next day, Sudama took leave, and Krishna was at the doorway waiting until he had left the palace. When Sudama left, he had a very satisfied feeling in his body. He was very elated. He was so happy that he had come to see Krishna. When he was going back, he saw that the place where he lived had entirely changed. There was a huge palace in the place of his small hut. And he thought, "Oh my goodness, did some king come and build his palace here by the time I was gone? Where are my children? Where's my wife? Where is my house?" And he saw all these people playing instruments, and people playing instruments like, Come, sir, we've been waiting for your arrival, come." And Sudama was confused as ever. He was saying, "Me? They're waiting for me? I don't even think these people know me." And when he came, he saw his wife and his children, and they were dressed in rich clothes and jewelry, and might be middle class, but when they donate clothes to the poor, they tell them, oh, look, I'm donating this to you. I donated this to this charity. I'm donating money to this charity. But Krishna, being the great soul he is, not even donated, he gave Sudama a whole new lifestyle. But he didn't even tell Sudama, I'm the one giving you this. And when Sudama thought about this, it brought tears to his eyes. And he thought, Krishna is really a great Lord, my good Lord, and he's also my best friend. I'm so thankful that I had Krishna as one of my best friends. And that is the end of the story. But the moral we can learn from this story is that the Lord doesn't discriminate between if you are poor, if you are middle class, or if you're rich. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It matters how much bhakti, how much love, how much compassion you have for the God. It doesn't matter, oh, if you've donated so much money to the poor, or if you've won so many medals, or if you're the best, most popular person in your school. It matters how much bhakti, how much love and devotion you have for the Lord. And